Hello everyone, welcome to Voxcel. In this video, we're gonna discuss reading passage 3 of second test taken from IELTS academic book 18th. We have already discussed reading passage 1 and 2 of this particular test. So if you haven't watched those videos, you should, but after this one. For this video, I need your undivided attention. So without further ado, let's start. So if you have watched my previous videos, you should know how we begin. Yes, by reading the title of the city. So the title says an ideal city. So this title is not giving too much information. Let's see what the subtitle is saying. Leonardo da Vinci's ideal city was centuries ahead of its time. So from the title it's quite clear after reading the subheading as well that this particular city, whatever city is, it was designed, made, whatever you want to say, by Leonardo da Vinci. And this particular city, because it was made in the past, it was centuries ahead of its time. Let's just say it was made in 1600s, so it was like maybe 300 years ahead of its time. So the architecture was so advanced for that particular time period. So we should expect to read such kind of information. Maybe the information is different, but what will it do is it will help us to activate our vocabulary, so that when we read the exact paragraph, we will not feel bored or overwhelmed by the information. So now what we're gonna do, we are not gonna read the paragraph just yet. We're gonna go straight to the questions, look at what kind of questions we are dealing with, make strategy, and then start reading the paragraph. So if you look here, the questions are from 27 to 40. Okay, so these are the questions we are dealing with. So questions are on the right hand side, questions 27 to 33. So this just means that this is the first set of questions. So these are true, false, not given. Clear? So these kind of questions are almost always in order. What I mean by this is that you will find 27th before 28th, and then you will find 29th, then 30th, and then 31, and so on. So rarely, like once in a blue moon, you may find one or two questions that are not in order, but 99.99% of the times you will find the questions in order. And 34 to 40. Okay, so we only have two sets of questions. So this is the last set. Complete the summary below. Choose one word only. So you have to write only one word for every blank. You should be very careful about that, because if you exceed the word limit, just for example, say you write 2 or 3 words instead of one, even though one of those 2 or 3 words is correct, your answer will be marked as incorrect because you didn't follow the instruction. So you have to be very careful about such kind of things. Leonardo da Vinci's ideal city. So it's basically the same as the title. So after reading the paragraph, we will read this particular sentence and see if this information is given here or not. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna read the first question of this set and first question of this set, because I don't think so we can easily identify this because it is the title of the passage itself. So 27th. People first referred to Leonardo da Vinci as a genius 500 years ago. So if the question is saying that people they knew that Leonardo da Vinci, he was a genius even 500 years ago, so they labeled him as genius. Okay, so if that is the case, our answer will be true. Like even 500 years ago, people called him genius because he designed a beautiful city, whatever the case is, because of x number of reasons or any reason, people thought he was a genius. So we will say answer is true. But if people didn't think he was a genius 500 years ago, he was seen as a common man, nothing more than that, the answer will be false. And if we don't know whether people thought about him as a genius or not 500 years ago, or what he was thought of 500 years ago. If we don't have any information like that, the answer will be not given. Clear? And let's see. 34th. A collection of Leonardo da Vinci's paperwork reveals. Okay. Now, here obviously the name will be with the name will appear many times in this paragraph. Here is this, the collection of paperwork. So let me remove the name. So the collection of paperwork reveals his design of new city beside the Ticino river. So okay, so wherever we will find this particular river, we will read this particular blank. Otherwise there is no need of pressurizing ourselves unnecessarily. Clear? So let's read the first paragraph. The word genius. Okay, genius, genius. We have found the word in the first sentence itself. Lucky for us. The word genius is universally associated with the name Leonardo da Vinci. Okay, so referring this, the word genius is associated with Leonardo da Vinci, a true Renaissance man. He embodied the scientific spirit, artistic talent, and humanistic sensibilities. 500 years. So here's something about 500 years. 500 years have passed since Leonardo died in his home at DQ outside Tours, France. So I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce this particular place's name. So we will say in France. Yet far from fading into insignificance, his thinking has carried down the centuries and still surpasses today. So it's something about centuries. So obviously our location is in this particular paragraph, and you will have around 10 seconds. So sorry, I forgot to tell you if you are new to this channel. So I'll give you around 10 seconds to solve every question, but if you need more time than that, you can pause the video and then you can continue when you're ready with your answer. So your 10 seconds start now. Okay, time's up, and the answer to this question is true, false, or not given? Yes, not given. I hope you arrived at the correct answer. If not, don't worry. I'll tell you why it is not given. So here they are saying, yeah, Leonardo da Vinci is called genius. Yeah, he is referred as genius. But did people refer him as a genius 500 years ago? Yeah, they have told us 500 years have passed since he died. But what happened 500 years ago? Did people think of him as a genius even back then? We don't know about that. So because of that, our answer to this will be not given. Let me just mark the location here first. I hope it is clear. Now, do we need to read this particular question 34th? No, because we haven't read this particular river, Ticino river. Let's read 28th question now. The current climate crisis, now we're talking about climate crisis, is predicted to cause more deaths than plague. So they're saying that the current climate crisis, it is being predicted, that obviously it is being estimated that it will cause more deaths than plague. So if that is the case, like if because of current climate crisis more people will die than they died because of plague, the answer will be true. But if the number is predicted to be lower, then the answer will be false. Or if the number is predicted to be same, even then the answer should be false. Clear? Because they are saying more, but instead of more there are two other options, same or fewer. Even if one of those two is the case, the answer will be false. But if we don't know about, if the no comparison is given, like if we don't know whether the deaths will be more or fewer people will die, the answer will be not given. Now be very careful. Instead of just writing more people will die, they can give numbers. Like for example, because of plague 500 people died, and because of current climate crisis 600 people may die. So obviously 600 is more than 500, the answer will be yes. But if the number is equal or less, the answer will be false. And if there is no comparison given, maybe only one number is given, second number is not given, the answer will be not given. Let's see. The Renaissance marked the transition from 15th century to modernity and took place after the spread of plague. So here's something about plague in the 14th century, which caused which caused a global crisis resulting in some 200 million deaths across Europe and Asia. So because of plague, this number of people died. Today the world is on the cusp of a climate crisis. So they're not talking about present, current, which is predicted to cause widespread displacement, extinction, and death if left unaddressed. Then, as now, radical solutions. So, this is our location. Now, you will have around 10 seconds. You know the drill, and the time starts now. Okay, time's up. The answer to this question is true, false, or not given? Yes, not given. I hope everybody was able to identify this particular answer, but if not, I will explain. So here they're saying that because of plague, some 200 million people died. Clear? But because of climate crisis, obviously there will be deaths, no doubt about that. But how many? We don't know about the number. So we cannot, it can be more, it can be fewer, it can be equal. We don't know anything about that. So therefore that reason the answer to this will be not given. I hope it is clear. Now, is there any mention of Ticino River again? There is no mention of that. So we'll move to the 29th question. Some of the challenges we face today can be compared to those of earlier times. Now they're saying that some challenges we face today, so some challenges that we are facing today, like maybe air pollution, something like that, they can be compared to those of the earlier times. So they can be compared to the past. So challenges today compared to the past. If that is the case, the answer will be true. But if you cannot compare because challenges today are exceed far are greater than the past or are more dangerous than the past has ever seen, are unprecedented, so the answer will be false. But if there is no comparison given, there is nothing about like can we compare challenges or not, if something is not given like that, the answer will be not given. I hope it is clear. Let's read the paragraph. Then, as now, radical solutions were called for to revolutionize the way people lived and safeguard humanity against catastrophe. Now they're saying that in the past, then here is defining the past as now. So they are saying that like we're doing now, even back then. So here they have not written back, so it's obvious. So even back then we called in for radical solution, so we used radical solution so that we can revolutionize the way people lived and we can safeguard humanity against catastrophe. So yeah, there is mention of past, there is mention of present and some solutions. So obviously this is our location. Now you have to tell me whether the answer to this should be true, false, or not given. Just let me write the location here, and the time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer is true. I hope you understood this particular statement. So the question is saying some challenges we face today can be compared to those of earlier times. Yes, the answer is true. Why? Because here they're saying then as now, then like back then, like now. So obviously there are similarities. So if you are comparing two things and they are same, so here they're saying they are similarities. So radical solutions. So some of you may be saying like where are challenges written? So we don't see challenges written. So where is the mention of challenge? But let me ask you one question. So challenge, you can say problem also. So if you are applying solution to a particular situation, if you're trying to find solution for a particular situation, what that problem is for you, what it is posing, it is posing a challenge. That's why you are trying to find a solution. If that particular situation doesn't concern you, doesn't cause any issues, why you will try to solve that particular problem? That's a challenge. I hope it is clear. Now, do we need to read those blanks? No, because till now we haven't read that Tikino River. Let's read 30th question now. Leonardo da Vinci's ideal city was constructed in the 15th century. So they're saying that this particular person's ideal city, when it was constructed in the 15th century. So if the city was built in the 15th century, the answer will be true. But if it was not built in 15th, let's just say it was built in 14th, 16th, or any century other than 15th, the answer will be false. And when we don't know when it was constructed, we don't know the time period, the answer will be not given. Let's see. Around 1486, after a pestilence that killed half the population in Milan, Italy, Leonardo turned his thoughts to urban planning problems. So now they're talking about this particular year. What happened? Following a typical Renaissance trend, he began to work on his ideal city project. Here they're talking about ideal city, which due to its excessive cost would remain unfulfilled. Yet, given that unsustainable urban models are a key cause of global climate change today, it's only natural to wonder how Leonardo might have changed the shape of modern cities. So now they're saying that, like in 1486, there was this deadly problem, and it killed half the population of Milan. And because of this particular problem, he thought to make an ideal city. Okay, but it was not fulfilled because of its excessive cost. So this is the location of our question of ideal city. Just let me mark this first. Question 30th. Now you will have around 10 seconds. Tell me whether the answer to this should be true, false, or not given, and the time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer to this question is false. Now, many of you might be wondering where it is written that it was not constructed in 15th century. I totally get it. Now, first, let me just clarify some one thing. 15th century. If I say, tell me any year that corresponds to 15th century, which year you will say? Will you say 15? Let's just say 1501, or will you say 1601, or 1401, 1801? Which year do you think corresponds to 15th century? Yes, 1401. You have to be very careful when you are talking about centuries. You have to go 1 year before. So if they're talking about 15th century, so the year should start with 14 something. If we are talking about 20th century, the year must start with 19 something. So it's very easy to remember which century. Like we say, we are people of which century? 21st century. That's a common phrase we use. We are 21st. We are people are living in 21st century. And which year we write? 20 something. Like at present is 2026. So we are writing 20 something, 2026. But the century is 21st. Similarly, 15th century, the year will be 14 something. And now, so here they are saying around 1486, this particular thing happened, and because of this particular thing, he started to work on his ideal city project. But it remained unfulfilled. That means it was not fulfilled during that particular time period. So obviously it was not constructed in 15th century. And now, even now, we think if he was able to do that, or if he were to do that particular thing, how it would have affected us. at present. So that's only ifs and buts, but he was not able to fulfill that particular project. Why? Because of the costs. I hope it is clear. Now moving on to the next question, 31. Poor town planning is a major contributor to climate change. So if due to poor town planning we are suffering from climate change, or it's a major contributor, you can say we are suffering because it contributes a lot, the answer to this will be true. But if poor town planning is insignificant in climate, well, like with respect to climate change, it doesn't play that big of a role, then the answer will be false. And if there is no correlation given between these two things, then the answer will be not given. Let's read ahead. Yet, given that unsustainable urban models are a key cause of global climate change today, it's only natural to wonder how this. So, this is the location for your question. Okay, let me write it here, and you will have around 10 seconds. You know the drill. The time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer is true. So here there's why it is true. So here they're saying poor town planning. Basically, town planning is paraphrased as urban models. So town, urban areas are city areas. So town is basically part of city. So major contributor to climate change. Key cause here refers to major contributor. Key cause. Climate change, they're saying global climate change today. I hope it is clear. Now, do we need to read blanks? No, because till now we haven't read anything about Ticino River. Let's read 32nd question then. In Renaissance times, local people fought against the changes to Pienza and Ferrara. I'm sorry if mispronouncing these names. So in these times, okay, in these times or in this particular time period, the local people, they fought against, not in favor of these particular changes. Okay, changes to these places. I think these should be some kind of places maybe. So changes to these things, places, whatever they are. So local people fought against it, meaning to say they didn't want these changes. If that is the case, the answer will be true. But if local people welcomed changes to these particular things or places, the answer will be false. But if there is no mention about the emotions of local people, whether they were angry, joyed, whatever, or neutral, whatever the situation is, if there is no mention of their emotions related to this particular situation, the answer will be not given. I hope it is clear. Let's read the paragraph. Although the Renaissance is renowned as an era of incredible progress in art and architecture, it's really noted that the 15th century also marked the birth of urbanism and a true academic discipline. So they're saying that though this particular time is famous for art and architecture, it's rarely noted. So it's like not a lot of people know that this particular century also marked urbanism as a true academic discipline, so as a subject. The rigor and method behind the conscious conception of a city had been largely missing in Western thought until the moment when prominent Renaissance men pushed forward large scale urban projects in Italy, such as the reconfiguration of the town of Pienza and the expansion of the city Ferrara. So here are the names. So they're saying that until this thought was not mentioned, so people, let's see what people, these works surely inspired Leonardo's decision to rethink the design of medieval cities. So because of these particular works, Leonardo da Vinci got inspired and he rethought the design of medieval cities with their winding and overcrowded street and with houses and parks. So obviously this is our location for this particular Just give me 1 second, guys. So this is our location. Let me do this. So here reconfiguration means changes to something, and they are talking about this. So you will have around 10 seconds to tell me whether the answer to this should be true, false, or not given, and the time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer to this is not given. I hope everybody was able to find the answer, correct answer. Why it is not given? Because we do not know whether local people welcomed it or local people fought against the changes. So they have just said reconfiguration occurred at these particular places. But what was the reaction of local people? Were they angry? Were they overjoyed? Were they in favor? Were they against? We don't know anything about that. So that's why the answer is not given. I hope it is clear. Let's read the 33rd question. Why? Because we haven't read anything about Ticino River, so we don't need to go to the blanks. Okay, 33rd. Leonardo da Vinci kept a neat, organized record of his designs. So, this particular person, Leonardo da Vinci, what he did was he kept a neat and organized record of his designs. If his record was neat and organized, the answer will be true. But if that's not the case, it was not neat, it was disorganized, the answer will be false. And if we don't know anything about his organization, his tidiness, there is no mention about something like that, the answer will be not given. Let's read the paragraph, next paragraph together. It's not easy to identify a coordinated vision of Leonardo's ideal city because of his disordered way of working with notes and sketches. But from the largest collection of Leonardo's papers ever assembled, a series of this. So, in the first sentence itself, we are talking about notes and record sketches. So that is record of his designs, obviously. So that this is our location for the first 33rd question itself, and you will have around 10 seconds. Tell me the answer. The time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer to this question is, oh, sorry about that, false. I hope you identified the correct answer. Why it is false? Because they're saying neat and organized. Here they're saying disordered way of working with notes and sketches. Meaning to say the order in which he aligned his sketches, he put his sketches were not in order. That thing was not in order. They were disorganized, disordered. I hope it is clear. So we have done all the true false, but we haven't done this because we haven't read anything about Ticino River. Let's see whether we read in this paragraph or not. But from the largest collection of Leonardo's papers ever assembled, a series of innovative thoughts can be reconstructed regarding the foundation of a new city along the Ticino River. Okay, we have found the word. Now what we're going to do is we're going to read this particular question, try to understand the blank, what kind of word will best suit it, and then try to find that word in the paragraph. A collection of this paperwork, yeah, here they're talking about series of largest collection of Leonardo's paper, reveals his design of a new city beside Ticino River, new city along Ticino River. So we have read about that. This was to provide better blank for trade and less polluted environment. So this particular thing, it was done because he wanted to provide better something for trade. So he wanted to provide better environment for trade, like I don't know, better something for trade and less polluted environment, and pollution should be less. Okay, let's read the paragraph now. So it should be something better. So whatever it was previously, he wanted to improve that particular thing, to provide improved something. Let's see, which runs Switzerland. Okay, which runs from Switzerland into Italy and is 248 kilometers long. He designed the city for the easy transport of goods and clean urban spaces, and he wanted comfortable and spacious city with well-ordered streets and architecture. So what he wanted was, he sorry about that, just let me drink some water, give me one few seconds. Okay. So where were we? Yeah, so he wanted better something for trade and less polluted environment. So here he says, saying that he designed the city for the ease of transport of goods and clean urban spaces. So clean urban spaces, basically the environment is less polluted, it was like clean, environment was clean. Okay, so that means our location is in this particular, let me do this, our location is in this particular sentence, and you have around 10 seconds. You know the drill, the time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer to this question is yes, transport. You should be very careful. You should remember, you have to write only one word, you cannot write more than one word. So if you picked any word that constituted, any answer constituted two words or more than that, you should be like be aware that you cannot write more than one word. So now if you were not able to identify the answer, don't worry, I'm going to explain, just give me one sec. Okay, now here they're saying that this was done. So why it was made? So he designed the city. So this was to provide, he designed the city for the easy. So whatever the previous was, he wanted to make it easy for the people. So transport of goods, you cannot write transport, better transport of goods. So for trade, for goods. That's why they have given one word. And for less polluted environment, clean urban spaces. I hope it is clear. Let's read the next question. Although Leonardo da Vinci's city shared many of the ideals of his time, some of his innovations were considered unconventional in their design. So, though there were many ideals of his time, so many things were similar with other designers or other city makers, developers, but some innovations were considered unconventional. They included features that can be seen in some tower blocks today. Those features that Leonardo included in his city design, they can be seen today at present, such as blank on the exterior of a building. So exterior meaning to say outside of a building. Let's see what kind of thing is outside of a building. And he wanted comfortable this with well ordered street architecture. He recommended high strong walls with tower and battlements of all necessary and pleasant beauty. Okay, let's see, we haven't read anything about today. His plans for a modern and rational city were consistent with Renaissance ideals. So at that particular time, his ideas, his plans were consistent with those ideals. But in keeping with his personality, Leonardo included several innovations. So he's talking about innovations in his urban design, in his design. Leonardo wanted the city to be built on several levels, linked with vertical outdoor staircases. This design can be seen in some of today's high-rise buildings that was unconventional at that time. So that unconventional design he used can be seen in today's high-rise buildings. High-rise building, tower blocks today. In today's high-rise building, tower blocks today. So this design just means, this is obviously, this design is the pronoun referring to the thing being talked previously. So our answer should be in this particular sentence, and for that your time starts now. Okay, time's up. And the answer to this particular question is staircases. I hope you were able to identify the answer. If not, don't worry, we will see why we arrived at this particular answer, how we concluded this is our answer. Okay, let's see now. Here they have said we have already established features private blocks today unconventional, these are given. So here exterior instead of exterior of a building, let me mark it completely. So here they have said exterior of a building, so here they have said vertical outdoor this. So clear? So outdoor means outside, exterior means outside, interior inside, exterior outside. So outdoor, outside of a building we have staircases. I hope it is clear. Like you see in many of the movies, if you haven't been to any English speaking country or in Europe, so if you have seen movies, English like movies from Hollywood or other English speaking countries, so they show high rise buildings like red brick buildings made of red bricks, and the staircases were are on the back side outside. Okay, so he's talking about that. I hope it is clear. Let's move on to the next question now. Leonardo da Vinci wasn't only an architect. So they're saying that he wasn't only an architect. His expertise in blank was evident in his plans for artificial canals within his ideal city. So what kind of word do you think should be here? I think it's very easy. I'm not trying to say that you should guess the exact word, but what kind of word should be here? Yeah, some kind of profession, because we're talking about he wasn't only an architect but also something else. Okay, so he wasn't an architect but a player, something like that. It should be some kind of profession, I believe. Let's see. While in the upper layers of the city people could walk undisturbed between elegant palaces and streets, the lower layers was place for services, trade, transport and industry. But the true originality of Leonardo's vision was its fusion of architecture and engineering. So architecture, so this is our sentence, and I don't think so you will miss this particular word. And the time starts now. Okay, time's up. And the answer to this question is yes, you guessed it right, engineering. Let me just mark it. So it was quite straightforward, this particular answer. So here they have talked about architecture. So his vision fused with was a fusion of architecture and engineering. So he wasn't an architect but an engineer as well. I hope it is clear. Let's move on to the 37th now. He also believed that the height of houses should relate to the width of streets. Uh, Height of houses should be in accordance to the width of street in case earthquakes occurred. This design of many cities, the design of many cities in Italy today follows this blank. So this basically refers to this particular situation, height of houses with the relation to the width of streets. This is the rule. Okay, this is the, you can say, mathematical expertise he did because of his engineering. So this design, it today in many cities follows this particular trend, something like that. Let's see. The canals regulated, let's see, have it, no, we had Leonardo designed extensive hydraulic plants to create artificial canals throughout the city. And nothing about height of houses. The canals regulated by clocks and basins were supposed to make it easier for boats to navigate inland. Leonardo also thought that the width of street, so here's something about width of street, ought to match the average height of adjacent houses. So here height, width of street, height of houses. A rule still followed in many contemporary cities across Italy. Many cities today, many contemporary cities in Italy, to allow access to sun and reduce the damage from earthquakes. So earthquakes. So obviously uh, this is the sentence where your answer should be. And to find your answer, you will have around 10 seconds, and the time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer to this question is yes, rule. Let me just mark the location first. So how we arrived at this particular answer? So here they're saying that this in Italy still this thing is being followed. So they're saying that a rule still followed. So here they're saying follows this, it's inactive, you can say. They have converted into passive this rule. I hope it is clear. Let's read 38th question now. While some cities from blank times have aspects that can also be found in Leonardo's design, his ideas weren't put into practice until long after his death. So they're saying that though there were some cities from blank times, so there should be some kind of reference to particular kind of era, I believe, from ancient times, European times, from old times. So some kind of, I think, era should be our answer. Let's see. They have some similar aspects that can be found in design, but his design, they didn't came into like practice, or they were not realized, they were not used long after his death. Okay, let's see. Although some of these features existed in Roman cities before Leonardo's drawings, there had never been a multi-level compact modern city which was thoroughly technical conceived. Okay, so they're saying though these features, so these features, whatever features were, so can also be found in his designs. Okay, but not a multi-level compact building. Okay, so our answer is in this particular sentence, and the time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer to this particular question is Roman. It was quite straightforward, I believe. You, if you were not able to identify, don't worry, I'm going to explain. Just let me do my thing first. So now they here they're saying some cities from blank times. So they're saying Roman cities. Okay, so these features existed, can also be found. If something can be found, it exists. So if something doesn't exist, can you find it? I'm afraid you can't. Obviously, if something doesn't exist, how can you find that? That's like common sense. Let's read 39th now. Blank is one example of a city now that was redesigned in the 19th century. So this is our locator. So here they're saying dash is one example of a city. So what kind of word do you think should be here? It's quite straightforward. Yeah, it should be name of a city, ABC, whatever the name of the city, it should be some kind of city, and it was redesigned in the 19th century in the way Leonardo has envisaged. Let's see. Indeed, it wasn't until the 19th century. Oh, sorry about that. It wasn't until the 19th century that some of his ideas were applied. So his ideas were applied in the 19th century. For example, the subdivision of the city by function with the services and infrastructure located in the lower levels and wide and well ventilated boulevards and walkway above for residents is an idea that can be found in George Eugene Horman's renovation of Paris under the Emperor Napoleon III between 1853 and 1870. So this is the example of a city by function that he wanted, but it wasn't realized until his death. This is our location obviously for this particular answer. Now you have around 10 seconds. The time starts now. Okay, time's up. And the answer to this question is yes, Paris. I hope you were able to identify this particular answer. It was quite straightforward. I already told you it should be some kind of city's name. So here they're saying this particular person, he made sorry, he made renovation to the city of Paris under this particular emperor. Okay, so the city was designed in the way he had envisaged. He thought about that. Clear? So this is our last paragraph and the last question. Let's read it now. His ideas are also relevant to today's world. So his basically refers to Leonardo da Vinci. His idea, they're saying that they're still relevant in the today's world where building blank no longer seems to be the best approach. So now we are building something and it doesn't seem good right now. Like now we don't think so it's the best approach. Maybe in the past it was considered the best approach, but right now we don't think so it's the best approach. We may have found something else. Let's see. Today, Leonardo ideas are not simply valid, they actually suggest a way forward for urban planning. So now they're saying that today they are not only valid, but they are suggesting that how we should move forward. So relevant in today's world. His ideas are relevant in today's world. Many scholars think that the compact city built upwards instead of outwards, integrated with nature, especially water systems, with efficient transport infrastructure, could help modern cities become more efficient and sustainable. This is yet another reason why Leonardo was aligned so closely with modern urban planning and centuries ahead of its time. So here they're saying that many scholars they think that the compact cities should be built upwards instead of outwards, and because it can integrate the nature clearly. So here they're saying that in today's world we should build something, or building something no longer seems to be the best approach. So here's something about building something. So obviously our answer should be in this particular sentence, and for that you have around 10 seconds. Tell me the answer. The time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer to this question is yes, outwards. I hope you were able to identify, but if not, as I always say, don't worry. I'm here to explain. So now many of you might have marked upwards, but this is not the correct answer. Why? Because here they are saying that building something no longer seems to be the best approach. So if we don't think it is the best approach, will we use it? No, we will try to use the best approach. So here they are saying now we are building upwards instead of outwards, means to say instead of outwards, rather than outwards, we are building upwards. So building outwards, we do not think it is the best approach. That's why we have shifted from outwards to upwards. That's why outwards will be our answer, because it is no longer the best approach. I hope it is clear. So let's see, we have done all these questions. So I hope you were able to understand everything, but if still something is not clear, if you are not able to understand any particular question, you can watch, or you should watch that part of the video again and again until it is clear. But if it is still not clear, you can ask us in the comments below. We will be happy to solve your queries. And you can also watch other videos as well to make your understanding better, so that you can attempt readings in a better way and improve your scores without any doubt. So this is, like, you can say, fail safe approach. You will always be able to find the correct answer if you do like this. It may take some time, or it may take more than 1 hour in the beginning to solve the entire reading, but be patient. Focus on your accuracies first. The speed will improve. Don't worry about that. You should not worry about your speed in the beginning. In the beginning, you should worry whether you are able to understand the passage, the questions, how to solve it, the method to solve them, and then you should worry about your speed. It will automatically improve. Don't worry about that. So that's it for this video then. I will see you in the next video. Till then, take care and goodbye.